is Ashley Christensen, and I'm excited to share with you my personal management philosophy. So let's get started. Here, I said that I am a medium-high control teacher, and the reason I said this is because I believe that students need choice in the classroom, and that's central to their development and learning. But I also believe that I am the enforcer as the teacher of the rules and the procedures. So, a big important thing for me is a focus on relationships. Going along with William Glasser's theory, I believe that successful social relationships are based on meeting basic human needs, and that as we build these positive relationships, needs like love, acceptance, freedom, choice, all those things will be met as we establish those positive relationships. High expectations and high love is crucial to my management philosophy, and because of that, Marvin Marshall is actually a high control teacher, but he has influenced me because I think the teacher needs to enforce classroom rules, but they need to be very clear, there need to be clear-cut consequences, and the students need to know that. So I need to review those with them frequently so that they understand and there's no stress in the classroom, no stress discipline. So the other theorist that heavily influenced my management philosophy is Rudolf Dreikurs, and he came up with logical consequences. I think this is so important because they realize the cause and effect relationship between their actions and what the results are, so they can be motivated to behave in certain ways. Also, he has an emphasis on positive encouragement, which is huge for me because I believe a growth mindset is critical for learning in a classroom. So I think there needs to be a good balance between students and teachers, their roles and responsibilities, and this joint responsibility between student-led learning, teacher-led learning, and decision-making will help the classroom function in the best way possible. Goes right along with my mantra, teamwork makes the dream work. All right, so next up we have my democratic classroom foldable. I made a little pamphlet here. And just a couple points from this, I'm a big believer in collaboration as a whole class and in small groups. So as a whole class, I really think morning meetings are critical for students to be able to build these relationships with their peers, a sense of community in the classroom. They can openly express their ideas, emotions, feelings. This will be student-led too. They are totally in charge of this. I'll be there as a resource, but this is their time. Also, I want them to help contribute in the development of classroom rules so they can be motivated to follow them and the consequences when they break them. I also want my students to have choice in the classroom. I want them to be able to choose what books they read during stations, which activities they want to do so that they can be motivated to do it and it fits with their style of learning. Lastly, jobs, classroom jobs and leadership positions. There will be a chart, they can just rotate through the jobs. I will just rotate that for them. But as far as leadership goes, in the older grades, I want them to have a chance to run for class president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and this will be student-led. They will choose, they will nominate and vote for their leaders. But again, I want lots of students to have this opportunity, so it'll rotate every term. All right, next up we have motivation. This is one of my favorite parts of my management strategy because I'm a firm believer in the self-determination theory, which states that students need autonomy, they need to feel competent, and they need a sense of relatedness or part of the group. And I think a big part of this is the different types of motivation we use to meet those needs. So I have 3 strategies for intrinsic motivation and 2 for extrinsic motivation, and I think both are crucially important. For intrinsic, self-reflection is a time where the students can ponder on what they've learned, their progress, their goals. They can set more goals of what they're motivated to accomplish in the future. Specific feedback will help them a lot with this growth mindset because I'll give them feedback on their efforts and instead of just their abilities. Lastly, create meaning. I think this is crucial. If students can understand that something is useful and it benefits their life, they're so much more motivated to do it. Logical consequences, again, the cause and effect relationship will help them be motivated because they will see the effects and be motivated to do the things to get those positive or negative consequences. Lastly, a token economy is a chance for students to earn different points, tokens, prizes, rewards for their efforts and for their behaviors. And I will do this individually and as a whole class. I realized that we want intrinsic motivation, but if it starts out as identified or even introjected, it can move towards intrinsic motivation. And I think extrinsic and intrinsic are both important. God uses both when he deals with us. So another little mantra comes from Walt Disney. If you can dream it, you can do it. All right, moving on to rules and procedures. Again, I kind of align with Marvin Marshall on this one, that I need to be firm, I need to enforce these rules, and just make it very clear. We'll review these things a lot, but some examples are: be kind, be safe inside and outside, keep hands, feet, objects to yourself, and stay quiet when others are talking or when the teacher is talking. And some examples of positive consequences are like they can earn things for the token economy, positive praise, respect, and happiness in the classroom. Negative consequences will be things like quiet warnings, loss of privileges, reviewing procedures again, or maybe just taking a break so they can emotionally regulate. As far as prevention strategies go, I think the most beneficial one is establishing positive rapport with students, because they will be less likely to misbehave when they understand that you love them, you trust them, and you're helping them. So also rules and procedures, if they know what's expected, they're going to be less likely to act out because they know what to do and when they're supposed to do it. Makes their job and my job easier. So as far as intervention strategies go, I am a firm believer in not calling too much attention to the actual misbehavior itself, because that can promote other misbehaviors in the future. So I'm a big fan of the situational assistant and mild responses of nonverbal cues like teacher proximity. I use that over here. Sending like cues or like eye messages through the teacher look. Also, just things like using their name or something they're interested in for a verbal cue to get back on topic. But for the bigger consequences and like chronic misbehaviors, I will definitely use, I'll definitely have to talk to them one-on-one, use quiet warnings, talk through situations, even if that takes extra time so they can calm down so we can talk through things. And then give them like some choices of how they help them generate their own choices of how to overcome that issue or challenge. But if things get even more scary and aggressive with aggressive behaviors and things like seeking revenge and power, I'm not afraid to work with the parents and the principal to have a meeting to say, okay, what is like the best thing we can do to help these students in this situation? And as far as bullying goes, when it comes to bullying, I am very firm on this. I will not tolerate bullying in the classroom. I think I will set clear expectations for that, because sometimes it's a little fuzzy for kids. They don't know where the line is. So I will make that very clear, and I will be very firm in enforcing that in the classroom. All right, so lastly, my classroom map. This is designed to enable maximum mobility and participation in the classroom. So the high control aspects, well, the medium high control aspects is that they're all facing the same way. All the desks are in rows, very neat. They're all close together, but this still allows for a lot of group work. I believe this kind of goes along with Alfie Kahn. They need to be able to make decisions and work in groups in the classroom to learn and be successful. So I've designed the classroom so that they can work in groups and partners. They can turn around, work with the people behind them. They can work in their rows, but also there's times when we come together as a whole classroom. This rug is perfect for morning meetings. There's a lot of space back here too. When they have group work by themselves, they can spread out. They can choose where they want to go and what they want to do. Back here, I have bookshelves and all the materials, the technology cart, the reading corner, other materials, so that if they need to go up and get something, it's not going to be distracting the class. Same with the coat racks, the sink, and all these things. Yeah, I think this is just gonna facilitate and foster participation among peers and in between teacher and students. So it's very simple. I don't want to have a lot of things on my walls, because I believe the simpler, the better. Less distracting for students, and they can just be more focused. So then back here, I just have the rest of my resources and other papers we've written. Yeah, so that is my management philosophy. I want to end with a quote from Joseph Smith. He says, "Teach men true principles and they will learn to govern themselves." I think that sums up my philosophy in a nutshell, and I am so excited to be a teacher.